Welcome to the call tonight. As many of you know, I'm Tamara. I don't think there's anyone on the call that I haven't actually met tonight. And we're just talking about massive action plans. Now, what's really exciting is that we're going to be talking a lot more in depth about how to take a massive action plan on Sunday. So that's another really good reason to make sure you are there on Sunday. But I wanted just to talk a little bit about what has been happening in Hunters and Gatherers over the last month in August. We had a group of, there were 9 of us originally, it did drop to 8, people who elected on the 1st of August to take massive action over the next 30 days. So from the 2nd of August till the 31st of August, we all committed to each other as a group of people that we would take massive action. And we all committed to a goal. Everyone's goal was different. Everyone came from different demographics, different other commitments in their life, but we all made the commitment to each other that we would take massive action for the entirety of August. And I'll just show you, this was actually my grid. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages, which I worked through. And we actually decided to commit to 5 brand new contacts per day. Now, I know Nat has had a group running for July and August where they were doing 10 contacts a day. We felt that for our particular group, that 5 brand new contacts a day was realistic and achievable, and we felt that we could all commit to that. And what was really great is 8 out of the 9 people managed to stick it out right through to the end. Now, I guess, thanks, Bronnie. I guess the biggest thing about the 30 days of massive action is exactly what Simon was talking about on the previous call, in that it was definitely stepping into a place of discomfort. Every single one of us in that group of 8 who made it through to the end had at one time or another in that month a moment of self-doubt and a moment of, oh my God, I don't think I can do this. But the beautiful thing about doing it together was that we were able to reach out to each other in a really lovely, vulnerable way and say, hey, not doing so great today. I really don't know if I could do this. And the rest of the group really helped to uplift. So never was it more apparent how important the value is of getting together with a group of people and making a commitment, getting that accountability in place, making commitment to another person or people about what it is that you want to achieve for that month, and for them to hold you accountable to that. And certainly, and in no means I use my life as the outstanding example, but when you have other commitments in your life, whether it be a full-time job, whether it be commitments to your family, whether it be sporting commitments, whether it be social engagements, having that commitment to a group of people to achieve a certain outcome was very challenging for all of us who undertook the challenge. But there was such brilliant elation in reaching that final day of the challenge, knowing that we had made it and we'd made it together as a group. And more importantly, the goals that we had set for ourselves, we either came extremely close to achieving or smashed it out of the park. So I can say to you that, the goal that I personally set for myself for August was, of course, to make these 5 new contacts per day, but was to have 5 new preferred customers and 2 new franchisees. And I managed to achieve 5 new preferred customers and 2 new franchisees. Not only that, but I have a whole lot of ongoing discussions. And I know Natalie has pointed it out before, and certainly others before her have done the same, that this is a business of momentum. And it certainly takes more than just 1 month, 1 30-day period of massive action to really start to get the momentum. So we know as a group doing the massive action, and those who committed to doing it again in September, that we are going to start to see the momentum rolling in over September and also over October. The other great thing about doing something like this is at the outset you set yourself a goal. You become, as Simon said tonight, very outcome driven. And, part of the driver, particularly for our group towards the end of our 30 days of massive action was, how far off are we from hitting the goals that we set for ourselves? And I certainly watched a couple of people really ramp it up towards the end of the month to make sure that they really hit their goals in what they were trying to achieve. So I'm not really going to take any more time to talk about my story, other than to say we had a couple of rules in our group. Number one, everyone's allowed a bad day, you know, whether that be you just didn't sleep well, whether that be you had 1,000 other things going on. So we all allowed each other a day's grace. But if there were 2 days in a row that you weren't able to achieve the high five, then you were out. So it was as simple as that. It was a really simple rule, but the beautiful thing is everyone really abided by that, and everyone really respected that simple little rule. Having daily contact with each other was really important, so everyone had to tap in at the end of the day and tell everyone that they'd had achieved their high five. Sometimes that was at 1 minute to 12 midnight. Finally, that 5 was achieved. And that's the other really great thing about this is, you know, sometimes I started doing my high five at 11:30 at night time because the day had been so chockers with other things, but I knew that I had to achieve that 5. And so, you know, that achieving that 5 started at 11:30. But it was still done. So that was good. And the other thing that we committed to is at the end of each week, we actually took a photo of our grids and sent it through. So again, being accountable to each other and showing each other was very motivational, actually, to see everybody's grids flooding in on a Friday. We decided to give ourselves the weekend off. So Saturdays and Sundays was our step out time to rejuvenate, and then we all hit the ground running again on Monday morning. So I know a lot of people have done similar things. But the greatest thing about creating this massive action is that it's really started that momentum moving forward. And there are a couple of people on the call tonight who were part of that massive action group, and I would love for them to share their stories. Tanya, I'm just going to unmute you, my friend. This beautiful woman has had such incredible personal growth since she started in this business. And Tans, I'd love it if you would tell everybody a little bit about your life, like just to give us a little bit of a profile, and tell us a little about what being part of this massive action has done for you personally, how it's contributed to growing your business, and how you see it's going to continue to contribute to you moving forward with momentum. So I'm just going to unmute you now. Off we go. There you are.
Okay. I am a stay-at-home mum, and I've been in the business from the end of May. And when we were told about this little group that Tamara was running, I put my hand up, pardon me, and then desperately wanted to back out. I did not know how I was going to go about speaking with 5 different people a day when some days we struggled to actually leave the house with my kids. So it was definitely stepping out of my comfort zone. And for those that don't know me too well, I am actually quite a really shy person. So to initiate a conversation with somebody new or somebody that I haven't seen in a long time is really quite challenging for me. And as the weeks went on and day by day, I got my confidence up and made some beautiful reconnections with people, new people that I didn't know, and also people from my past as well. So that was really nice to hear from them. Definitely being held accountable is huge. I know that over the last few days since I haven't tapped in, I have been lazy and haven't made any connections and haven't spoken to anybody. So I know that I definitely am one of those people that do need to check in, do need to be accountable, do need to keep that momentum going. And yeah, my results, I got 1 new preferred customer and a new franchisee. But for me, the personal growth of gaining the confidence to speak with different people every day, huge. And I'm so grateful for being part of it.
Oh, thanks, Tans. Well, we were very inspired, particularly the day that you got stuck in the mud and had no mobile reception, and you still managed to complete your 5 by the end of the night, which was awesome. So thank you. Now, I did see Rach with a cup of tea. Rach, can you tell us a little bit about, I'm just going to unmute you, my friend, tell us a little bit about what your experience was like and what it's sort of done for your business, but also, you know, what it's looking like moving forward for you, because I know you've had some big successes recently too.
Yeah, so Can I be honest?
Sure.
So week 1 was really easy, you know, 5 contacts a day. Yes, I had to step outside my comfort zone and speak to people that I normally wouldn't speak to, but it was quite easy. You're on a bit of a high, you're in this group, you've got all the support, other people are doing it, so you're like, oh my God, I can't let anyone else down, so I've got to get it done. Week 2 was great. Just keep the momentum going. Week 3 got a little bit more difficult because by about week 3, week 4, you start to exhaust your warm market, which goes through reasonably quickly when you're doing 5 or more new contacts a day. So then I started to really feel the pressure, but I just put this task at hand first. Everything else came second. I told all those around me, this is what I'm doing. This is my path at the moment. August, this is it. This is me. So got through it. It went really well. I've got 3 potential VFs, and I think I only got 1 customer order in that last month. But today, what's today? The 5th. I've already put in 7 new orders. So the work that I did last month has paid off this month already, and it's only early days. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of the month. I did kick off again on the 1st, doing my 5 contacts a day, because I knew if I stopped, it would be hard for me to pick up again. And it's really great to have the support of everyone else. If I didn't have that, then I wouldn't be where I am. I probably wouldn't have these 7 orders. I wouldn't be stretching myself. I would be in my comfort zone still, which sometimes I thought was actually out of my comfort zone, but this has made me realise that it wasn't. So it's really good to be pushed to the limits, and sometimes you need that. I'm one of those people that, I think I've got all under control and I'm doing fine and it's all good, but I'm not. So to have the help and the support from the others, and when you're having your down days and you find it really difficult to post in that group, and then someone just says, pretty much, get off your ass and do this. So you're like, all right, I'm going to do it. So you get the job done, and it's paying off, and it's awesome.
Oh, that's great. Oh, I'm so happy for you. That's so exciting. 7 new orders. Well done, my friend. That's great. Mel, I'm just going to unmute you now, my friend, because you were our slightly out there member of the group, in that you were over in, I think you were on the Gold Coast, weren't you? So you were actually 2 hours ahead of us. So when we were sort of posting at midnight, you were posting at 2 o'clock in the morning. So do you want to tell us about how that went for you last month?
Yeah. So because I got made redundant 2 months ago, I was actually put a little, I can't see myself I don't know, anyway. You're still on big screen there, Tamara.
Oh, I put you on pin video. We can see you, I think.
Oh, brilliant. That's fine then. So I kind of actually already set a task for myself to do 5 contacts a day. So when Tamara's message came through, I was like, yes, because I know that sometimes life can get in the way and you miss that day or something like that. So to really be held accountable, it was perfect, because there was no way that I was not going to do my 5. And it almost was like, I'm not going to let them down, I'm not going to let me down. So it was really nice to be held truly accountable, and just sending that message through at the end of the day is going, got a 5. Like, it was kind of like a reward of doing that as well. But yeah, I was actually, I think I actually flew out on the 1st of August. I can't remember what date it was, but I actually flew out to Gold Coast, and I was only supposed to be there for 2 weeks, and I ended up staying for the whole entire month of August. But I was actually also doing the Massive Fucking Action with Simon Mitchell at the same time. So I went over to Gold Coast to do some consulting work. I was doing the MFA program and this 5. I was stretched beyond limits. There was moments when it got to about 11:35, even 11:45 p.m. at night, my time in Gold Coast, and I'd start to see all these messages come through from everyone. Got my 5, because it was 9:30 Perth time. And I was just like, it would just kick me on. I'm like, right, okay, I'm just going to get my 5 done, and then I can go to sleep. So I never let myself go to sleep until I got that 5 done. So everyone really inspired me, and it was just a really great place to be, knowing that you've got that inspiration coming through, and that everyone just sort of worked together. And if you had a moment where you're like, oh, had a bad day, you just put that in there, and then, you know, somebody else would probably say, yeah, I had a bad day too. And it was really nice because you didn't feel like you were alone in that feeling. So it did get really overwhelming with all the conversations coming through, but I think week 1 was good. Week 2, they were starting to really roll through, and you're like, oh my God, like there's so many conversations. And but I think what I kind of, by week 3, I got into a little bit of a system where in the morning I would do my reach outs, and then at nighttime I would do my follow up. So it's kind of like putting a little system in place, and it kind of worked out really well that way. Being away, also, I was kind of using Facebook Messenger as my main tool prior to doing this massive action group, and just hearing how everybody else was sort of reaching out, whether they were phone calls or this. And I suppose being in a place that wasn't my home, I became very fearless, and I just started talking to everyone. So I was talking to people in cafes. I think I talked to some lady in the pub. I just sat next to her, and we just started talking about it. So yeah, I became very fearless in sort of finding different and inventive ways of reaching out and finding that 5, because like Rachel said, you really exhaust your warm market pretty quickly when you're reaching that many people. But one thing that I have noticed is that even if that hasn't converted into a customer, I'm noticing all the people that I'm reaching out to are actually starting to like my post or commenting on my Facebook. So now I know that they're following me. So the relationship has started and it's starting to build. The success that I got last month was I got 4 new preferred customers and 1 new teamie in Gold Coast. Woohoo! So yeah, it was really good, and I know that I've set myself up for a really good September. So it was a really good thing, and I'm really glad I did it, because it really kept me accountable and kept me going in moments that I just thought I was done for the day. So yeah.
So you brought up a really good point, Mel, is that you physically took yourself out of a familiar environment and sort of, you know, came up with creative ways of making new contacts in live. Gemma Clark was also a part of our group, and she's on the call tonight as well. Thanks for hopping on, Gemma. I know you were still settling a child. Gemma is in Geraldton, for those of you who don't know, and probably wasn't really in a position to take herself out of her usual environment. So, Gem, can you share your story? And also, can you enlighten us on sort of what were the creative ways that you were making new contacts with people? I'm just going to unmute you now.
Hi. Yeah, it was very overwhelming when I joined the group, and I thought, what am I doing? Is it too early for me to be doing something like this? So it was quite a big challenge for me, but I decided that if I was going to start networking with people better, then this was something that I could do. And also one of my personal goals for August was to really learn and start using the grids properly, because I hadn't really been doing that. And wow, what a way to do it. Another thing it helped me do was actually use Facebook as a tool, because I wasn't really doing that to reach out to people. I was only contacting people and catching up with them as such. And like Rachel said, the first couple of weeks they were like, yeah, I've done that, that's easy. But the last 2 weeks were a real big stretch. I must admit, I got really off balance with everything going on in my life. But now that it's done, it feels really good, and I can see the potential of all the work I put in over those days, of what that's going to bring in the future months and coming into September now. So all those connections that I've made, and all quality connections too, and using like the Master Asker questions and creating true relationships in my conversations and showing that I really care. It helped me with a lot of that in growth, and yeah, I think it was good. And when we had a bad day, everyone lifted everyone up. So yeah.
Oh, good, Gem. And do you feel like from a business perspective, customers, franchisees, moving forward, is that growing for you?
Yeah, so I got 5 new customers last month, which was also another goal for the month. And moving forward now, I just want to work on business, and now that I've built more customers, then that's the aim. I build some new team partners.
Brilliant. Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Jem. Really appreciate it. So a lot of people on the call may be wondering how do we do this? I can say that, you know, being in the industry for 18 years, I pretty much exhausted my warm market. But what I found was that by doing this process, the connections that I was making almost like unearthed new warm market for me. And I'm sitting here looking at my grid that I did, and there were very few people that were cold contacts, but by utilizing social media, and I'll be the first to say that I didn't do this in my workplace, and so a lot of my high fives that I got every day were actually using Facebook, using social media. But all but maybe a small handful of people on these 5 sheets for me are actually people who I know from other aspects of my life. So even though we often say, oh, you know, I've exhausted my warm market, it's amazing how utilizing Facebook and then translating that to this high five and this grid system actually starts to unearth a whole lot of people that you know from other places. I have school mums, I have kindy mums, I have family members who I wouldn't otherwise have made contact with other than we're Facebook friends. I have friends from my primary school days. I have friends from my workplace, but not making contact with them via the workplace itself. I have old nannies. I have friends or people that I've met just in various common interest groups on Facebook. So I'm very confident that using Facebook as a tool to reach out to people also helps you to not just make sort of cold market contacts, but also helps you to reach out to networks from previous aspects of your life, which you might not really have thought about. And the great thing is it creates those ongoing relationships. So I think Gemma made another really interesting point, is it was all encompassing. It was all involving for the time that we were doing it. Some people would like to continue that momentum and do it again. I do think it's something that you do over a defined period of time, whether that is a month for you, whether that's 2 months for you, whether that's 3 months for you, and 90 days of massive action is completely up to the individual. But the nice thing is you can step away from this process, use a month to step back and perhaps follow up on some of those leads that you've created, and then step back into the massive action plan in another month. So that's the really great thing about doing this, is that you can lean in and lean out whenever you like. So are there any questions? Oh, Miranda's posted a question. What did the 5-a-day contact look like? Actual JP product business conversations. So clarification. So I can clarify from my perspective, and Mel, Rach, Jem, Tanya, jump back in if you have any thoughts about this. But what did my conversations look like? Well, it was really about asking questions. So reaching out to people, like Gemma said, using those master asker questions, and finding a place eventually where someone either says to you, what do you do? Or what do you take? And then obviously then leading in from there, or even getting to the point where you could say, well, if I could show you a way to do X, Y, and Z, would you be interested in having a look? Can I send you a link? So they're the kind of conversations that Facebook unearthed. But the other great thing, plenty of coffee dates. I think my entire calendar for September is set up with coffee dates to connect with people. So that's how I've done it. How about you girls? How did those 5-a-day contacts look like to you girls?
That was the same with me. You know, you start the conversation, asking questions. I grew up in Victoria, so I contacted a lot of my primary school friends and just caught up with them. How you been? How's the kids? How's the family? What are you doing for work? And I got responses like, you know, my 5-year-old is high-functioning autism, or I'm going really well, but I'm feeling a bit stuck. We're sort of trapped in the country due to my husband's work, and things like this. So there's always something, if you're asking the right questions, that can bring you back around to offering either the product or the business. Yeah, so a bit of everything.
the avenue. Are you finished, Rachel? Sorry.
Yeah, Mel, I finished. Take it away.
The avenue I kind of went with is I'm very consistent with my post every single day on my Facebook. So I go through and look who has liked my post, and then I throw out a message based on that, because I know that they're following me, and I'll just sort of start a conversation. Hey, thanks for liking my post. How's things? How's life with you? Just start building the relationship. And you know, it's really funny. I found that certain people from those posts, and obviously, like, you know, people were starting to reach out to me in August. It was really amazing. And I guess that consistent action just had this magnetizing effect, or whatever, magnifying effect, that people were just messaging me. So it was really cool. But that was the kind of the avenue. When I got to a point where I'd exhausted that, I started going into groups and putting posts. And then if people liked that, then I would private message them. So yeah, I just started conversations, just asking the good questions. What are you up to? How's life? And just building that relationship from there.
And just to add, some of the conversations I still have going on, and I still haven't brought Juice Plus into them. So it's just creating relationships sometimes as well.
Yeah. Tanya, did you have any thoughts about what did the 5 a day look like for you? And
yeah, it was all just definitely making new contacts, so people that I hadn't spoken to in a while, either setting up coffee dates, general asking how your day is, all responding to Facebook statuses, and yeah, building relationships, building the trust.
Yeah, and like you said, it's more than just one conversation, Jem. Yeah. Does anyone else have any other questions about how this works? It's really, yeah, that's right. You're looking for the pain or their desires. I heard a great quote on one of the MLM Nation videos, podcasts, and that is bait the hook to catch the fish. Find people's painful positions and offer the solution. So, and that's certainly what the conversations are about. Is there any other questions about doing this? And the truth is, guys, you guys can lead these sessions yourself. You just reach out to a few people that you know and say, hey, who wants to do a massive action plan? I think you need to set a goal for how much you think is realistic contact-wise per day. We felt as a group 5 was realistic. I think probably we would have had a much higher dropout rate if we'd set it at 10. And figure out what length of time you want to do it over. We just felt that the 30 days of August was really, really realistic. And I think we were all exhausted. I think we all put our feet up on the 31st and had a glass of bubbles or wine just to come down off the ceiling. But yeah, it's just something that anybody can do. There's no hard rules about what is the best way to do this. But certainly they're the guidelines that we have felt to be really effective. And you'll hear a lot more on Sunday from Natalie as she presents what has been the outcome of a couple of months worth of massive action in her group. So guys, thank you so much for getting on the call tonight. Ladies, thank you so much for sharing your stories. Really, really appreciate it. I certainly know for this amazing group what they're going to reap from just 30 days. Imagine if you committed to 60 or even 90 days of doing this, what it could achieve for you. So I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on Saturday, for those of you going to the full day event with Simon Mitchell, Sunday for the 3.5 hours of intense one-day game planning that we're going to be having on the Sunday, and to those of you who will be coming along via Zoom as well. I know you're going to get heaps out of it. So thanks everyone so much for coming along, and I hope you all have a great night. See you then.